Hello! We are live with me and Pancake. This is my new puppy Pancake. I think I may have posted about her, and there's many more posts to come. But Pancake is not the topic of today's live, unfortunately, but she can be a fun distraction because she cannot be left alone. So Pancake will be joining me for today's live stream. Hi, people who are joining. Oh, hi, Rachel. This is Pancake. We'll have to have a puppy play date very soon. And today I'm going to be interviewing my friend Solomon. I'm super excited to have him on, and we're going to be sharing all about his business, The Art of the Gent, and what he is all about. Oh, I just see he logged on, and I can't wait to share what he's all about. He's really awesome, and we're bringing him on. And yes, Pancake will be a happy little distraction to us this whole time.
There she is.
Hi, Solomon. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to see you. If I knew we were bringing dogs today, I would have brought my puppy along.
You know, I'm just pimping out my dog for followers these days. So.
That's the only reason I got a French bulldog.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Next time we'll have to make it a dog live so that we make sure we both have dogs.
Well, sure.
But yeah, this is Pancake, by the way. I know you missed the very, very beginning of the video. I just got her, and she cannot be left alone, or she will eat everything in sight. So.
You just adopted her?
I did, like a couple weeks ago.
Congrats, right?
Thanks. Yeah, I guess it's a congrats. I guess it is. But I'm just
when she's
excited.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just super excited to share with my followers what you do, and I'm going to see what you do in action in a couple of weeks.
Yes. I still need to get you the invite, but number one, really appreciate that. Number two, he was sweet. I don't know if I should call him kid, but he was a sweet kid. So
awesome.
I think he's going to be great.
Yay! And will you share a little bit more about what the Art of the Gent is?
Sure. So it's essentially, I try to stay away from as far as just saying it's a fashion consultancy, because there is a lot of obviously fashion advice, styles, and then era of styles that I teach, but a lot of it is mostly the underlying philosophy behind intentionality in your appearance. So there a lot of time it's not all just suits and ties and all that, which is something I gravitate towards too, but that's not the basis. There's a lot of just underlying life changes that I teach that essentially manifest as a cohesive expression of style, because I don't believe that there's anything in the world you can change if you don't have control over yourself, and at the very basic level, how you look to others.
I love that. And what kind of people do you work with? Who's your ideal person to help feel more confident?
So mostly, I shouldn't say mostly because it runs the gamut. So a lot of my guys are they're trying to get higher up in the company or corporation that they're in. So they want to be taken a bit more seriously, and they want to look the part. So when they are managing people, they're essentially taken more seriously. A lot of guys that I work with are in software development and things like that. And unfortunately, with those guys, their sense of style is terrible. So it's, I've worked with attorneys, I've worked with accountants, people that are going through life changes, whether it's moving to a new place, or they might be getting into or out of relationships. I do deal with a lot of folks that are going through divorces or have gone through divorces, and a few, but hopefully with talking with you, this will be more of a thing. I would like to help people sort of put their best foot forward in trying to get into romantic relationships.
I know, and it's so important. It doesn't matter if your clothes are fancy or expensive. It's just
Hmm.
about how they make you feel a little bit
Right.
too. Because if you don't feel confident, then Pancake wants to go away, then you're not going to feel confident, on that date and probably won't
Hmm.
present your best self. So our clothes really say more about us, I think, than we give them credit for.
I I agree, and you touched on a good point there. I'm not a brand person, so for me, it's if it looks good and feels good, that's where I try to direct my guys or gals or whoever needs the service. But I try to shy away from recommending specific brands because at that point it becomes less about your expression and how things are on you, and more so look at this expensive thing I got, or it's I want to stay away from uh, having people think that to look good you have to spend an inordinate amount of money. That's not the case at all.
Yeah, and that would be terrible if you had to go drop, $2,000 on an outfit for a date and then you got to go pay for the date. That's too much.
Sure, sure, and it's I mean, there's the amount of money you pay on your whatever you're currently wearing, you can adjust that to where it's more in line with how you want to present. And you touched on something there. I can put clothes on anybody. So but what I want to make sure that they realize is why are they putting on the clothes? I don't want somebody to just put clothes on just to get past that first date. I want that to be something that they carry forward with them into that relationship and into other relationships. I don't want it to be transactional. I'm going to wear, a suit so I can kiss this person, or that's not what what I try and teach. So it I try to get it across that it is a lifestyle, that a lot of ancillary things will happen. I honestly do believe it will improve the quality of your relationships, regardless of what types, whether it is dating, whether it's professional, whether it's social. People are going to see that you're putting effort into your appearance when you go see them. And I think most people, whether it's conscious or subconscious, they receive the fact that this person's putting a lot of effort just to see me. So I'm going to give this person more weight, more attention, more just grace. So I talked about it in a different video of mine, where in my previous work, when I was working with contractors and things of that nature, as much as we try to pretend that we're deeper than deeper than we are, we make visual judgments on people, and a lot of those contractors, when they came in, depending on their appearance, I may or may not work with them because I didn't feel respected. I didn't feel they took the project seriously, or they just couldn't get the minute details in place enough that I wouldn't trust them to work on the project anyway. So that's a missing component, I think, with how people understand intentionality in appearance, is how the other person receives it.
Yeah, and maybe you dress different depending on who you're meeting. If you're meeting
Sure.
the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, you're probably going to dress different than if you're meeting with
Sure.
your mother-in-law. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that's something to keep in mind too, is dress for the moment, dress for the type of date it is. And we did
Hmm.
get Tony commented, I do believe in signature pieces though, like that Gucci belt. I wanted to know what you thought about that.
Well, see, that one of one of the things I've mentioned to probably most of the people that I've worked with is I'm not trying to make you look like me. I'm trying to make you look like you.
Yeah.
So if the Gucci belt is something that is in line with your character, then I'm all about it. But I will not tell you, hey, you need to get a Burberry scarf to look good. But
Yeah.
if you, I yeah, but if that's something that matches you, then 100%, absolutely. I usually like to incorporate orange into my outfits. Not
Ooh.
today because I've got pink. But that's just something that's in line with how I see myself. Would I say somebody else should wear orange? Probably not. But if there is a specific brand that you like that resonates with you, there are ways to integrate it, and I highly encourage that.
I love it. So, Tony, if the Gucci belt is your staple, don't throw it out. You can still wear
take, take care of. I'm assuming if it's Gucci, it's probably leather. Make sure you take care of the leather, and make sure you are cognizant of how you put it away. I hang all my belts so they don't crack. So
it.
just I'm assuming you've spent a lot of money on that. So just something to be aware of.
Totally. Hey, great tip. And I feel like for those who are watching and maybe watching this later, I mean, I love to hear your story of kind of how you got into this. But give us a
Sure.
little background.
So this will probably be a review for you, but
That's okay.
how this started how this started for me. I was a military contractor overseas for about 5.5 years. I was in the Middle East, and in between projects, I would pop into the local hookah or smoke lounge, and I was anybody that ever worked with me, I was known as the guy always in a three-piece suit wherever I was, even out in the field. I would have my three-piece suit on, even in 140-degree weather, just because that's how much of my identity it was. So, in one of the lounges that I was in, I got approached by a group that they were involved in putting together a startup for software that was essentially a logistics and supply tracker for oil companies. So when they approached me, they had seen me at that lounge a couple times, and they were wanting to get funding and investments and funding to their company, and they were being turned down. So they approached me at the lounge and literally said, "Can you teach us to look like you?" So this was back in about 2010 when this happened. So this was completely out of the scope of what I was doing at the time, but I decided this is something I'd be really interested in. So I worked with them for about 6 months with their employees, with their C-level execs, and I sat with them and I coached them. How do you speak? How do you sit? How do you negotiate? How to make yourself appear intentional. And they actually messaged me about, I think it was about 3 months after I was done with them, to tell me that they had secured their first investor in the company. And since then, I've been doing it as a passion project on the side. I've helped associates of mine in businesses that I've worked with, and just on and up, probably decent amount of clients yearly, until I finally decided, after a conversation with a mentor of mine, that this is something to do as a full-time business. Because at the time it didn't click in my head that this is an important thing and people need it. I thought it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
But as I've done it more, I've seen that more people need it, and I think the more people that go through the program, others get more comfortable that this is a thing that you can actually talk about, because that's probably the number one hesitation. Is there's a lot of negative thoughts associated with, well, if I want to look good, then I might look effeminate, or or I might be seen as vain, and that's, I mean, all of that is hogwash. I talk about, skincare. I talk about how to put the clothes on yourself, how to clean your shoes, and how to take care of things like that. And I would like to think that I'm one of the more masculine guys out there, and caring about that kind of thing is not embarrassing and is not anything that takes away from masculinity, and it is okay. And I think that's been the thing that I've been happiest about, is the the increased curiosity about this.
And do you think there kind of has been a change recently that men are more willing to say, you know what, I want to invest in skincare and how I look? Or do you feel like the whole time you've been doing this, it's been about the same?
It's That's kind of I've been all over, so it depends on which area that I'm in. In Europe, for instance, they're super cognizant. Even the Middle East, they're super cognizant about fashion and style. Here, it depends on which coast you're on. Here in Colorado, where we are, it's all over the map, and especially with COVID this past year, the most common uh, statement that I get is, "Well, we work at home. Why would I bother? Uh, why would I bother getting clothing or dressing up or anything like that?" So it's there is an innate curiosity. To answer your question, yes, there is a slight shift towards wanting to look better that wasn't there as much before.
Mm-hmm.
But with COVID this past year, as I'm sure probably in your business, there's been some interesting changes with just sort of the dynamics of how life changed. There is sort of an awakening now that we are going outside, that the appearance has become or is going to become more important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answered your question there. I kind of, I kind of went all over the place.
Well, I've even noticed too that, a lot of men are changing how they approach fashion and style. And,
Mm-hmm.
you think in Denver, we're very casual. You can wear jeans anywhere, or
Mm-hmm.
jeans and a flannel is just kind of the staple. But that doesn't mean that everyone has to dress that way. What would you say to guys who are maybe like, well, in Denver, I feel out of place wearing a three-piece suit?
So that's one of the things I do enjoy uh, having conversations about, because I wherever I go, I dress like me. I'm respectful of the customs or the mentalities in that area. When I go to the Middle East, I dress obviously differently.
Mm-hmm.
But if if everyone around me is casual, that doesn't mean that I need to be casual. If there, I don't believe ever that you can be overdressed.
Ooh, I like that.
But yeah, people think being dressed up means, like I was mentioning before, suits and ties. Not the case, but there is no situation that you would go to where you would be overdressed. If everybody else does look like a schlub, that's not a reason to not still be intentional with how you look. If that's your style, great. Also, I'm probably not the person to talk to about that. But it's I don't think, with Denver being how it is, I still dress the way I do, and it's become part of the part of my identity. Everybody just is expect, what is he going to come in wearing today? I go to cigar lounges. I go to a couple of other places consistently every week, and it's just part of the personality now. Even if everyone else is dressed casually, I'll say there is sort of a acknowledgement and maybe even adoration of, oh, this person's going to come in well dressed, and that's just part of his personality. And one of the things, this may sound ostentatious, the thing that I try imparting or teaching is how to be the most interesting person in the room,
Hmm.
how to look like the most interesting person in the room. And the way to do that is usually not to look like everybody else in the room.
Of course. Yeah.
Hmm.
And is that different for everyone, or are there like some basic kind of tips people who are watching could say, "Oh, I want to be the most
Sure,
interesting person in the
there's
room"?
there's basics. One of the big things I uh, espouse is fit is king. Like make sure your clothes fit. If if you've had your clothes for 14, 15 years, it probably doesn't fit the same way now. Either get new clothes or get your stuff tailored. That's literally everything I have is tailored, even my jeans. So
Hmm.
that would be number one. You could get a cheap pair of jeans and get them fitted, and they will look better than a very expensive pair of jeans that aren't. Um, Details matter. So, what are you doing as far as accessories? Are your shoes taken care of? That's one of the big ones that I probably just being around the military help. But I pay attention to shoes. If your shoes are taken care of, instantly I'm going to take you more seriously. Um, just general hygiene. I've I don't I didn't believe initially that this was something to tell people, but you know, wash often, take showers, use conditioner, use moisturizer. It helps. There's don't not just on your elbows. I've got about a 25-minute nightly routine that I do for skincare. So yeah, it's and again, this this is a non-gendered thing. Self-care is important, and I have associates of mine that are 15 years younger, and they look 20 years older than I do.
Mm.
And part of it is because I I actually take care of myself. So those would be uh, super quick, easy pointers. So details matter. Make sure your stuff is clean and taken care of. Get your stuff fitted, and self care is super important. So I probably every single person I talk to, I say use moisturizer, especially here in Colorado.
People aren't doing that.
I it's there's no, it's inappropriate. So there's a story as far as moisturizer in one of my classes, and it's inappropriate. So so sometime in the future I'll share it.
Oh my God. I mean, there are no rules on here if you want to share it.
What I'm assuming everybody's over 18. So well, I mean, with moisturizer, at one of the seminars that I was giving, I was literally asking who here uses moisturizer,
Yeah.
and a couple of hands came up, and I then asked, okay, who uses moisturizer anywhere but their privates? And most of the hands went down, and I had to explain to people there's this entire area outside of outside of your privates that you need to use moisturizer on. So, but it's I thought it was insane, but also at the same token, there wasn't there wasn't a lot of direction or education on this stuff with a lot of folks growing up, especially guys.
Yeah.
So just being taught, hey, self care is still quote unquote masculine, even though you've been brought up that only feminine people do that kind of thing. So it's just it's not. There's no embarrassment in not knowing that because there was no guidance for a lot of people as far as how do you do all that? How do you polish shoes? How do you get? Where do you go to get stuff tailored? Like a lot of that stuff. There's gap in knowledge, but it's not something to be ashamed of as long as you're asking.
Totally. I mean, it's even, people just assume they know how to date. No one ever explains to you, here's how you present yourself on the date. Here's the topics you should talk about. Here's the topics you
Hmm.
shouldn't talk about. It's kind of the same idea. It's almost like
Hmm.
you and I were I remember talking about over coffee that it'd be so cool to teach middle school, high school students about this. So that
Hmm.
way they enter the working world and they know.
I, I agree, and a lot of what I'm learning from what you're teaching is your advice is extra romantic relationships. It could apply to any sort of interaction or conversation or outing. So it's you're teaching people just basics of interacting with other human beings.
Hmm. Yeah, sometimes we really got to start with the basics. Other times people
Hmm.
know what they're doing, kind of similar
Hmm.
to what you do. And, I was going to ask too, how usually does someone work with you?
As far as how the process goes.
Yeah, like kind of talk about like if someone is watching and is interested in chatting with
Sure,
you, how does that work?
sure. So everything starts with the initial uh, no charge consult because I want to know who the person is, what they're looking to achieve, and just what their history was like. Me, I was lucky that my parents were uh, educated professionals and they were always dressed well. So that was sort of my framework. So with people, I want to know what their history was and what they're looking to achieve and what their current relationship with their appearance is. So that's the first step. And then the second step is the wardrobe consultation. So your wardrobe is the basis for everything. Sometimes people don't have enough stuff. Some people have way too much stuff. Uh, so we go through it, see what's there, what can be used, what what is needed, what probably needs to go. After that, depending on which stylistic direction they want to go, we literally go shopping. So I will teach people how to shop, what to look for, what styles that they are gravitating towards, or styles that I would recommend for them would be. So that's usually 1 or 2 sessions until they get the hang of it. And then I do have services that I offer for people that just absolutely don't want to deal with shopping, where I would literally just seasonally shop their whole wardrobe for them and pop up every 3 months, show them everything. They wear that for the season, and then I pop back in after 3 months, give them their new wardrobe. So it's as much as I would like to work with people forever, my goal is eventually for them to not need me.
Yeah, it's funny. I do that too. We want our people to
Hmm.
succeed and not need
Hmm.
us, be able to dress
Hmm.
themselves, find
Hmm.
love. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's a funny
and
spot.
it's interesting how much those two uh, businesses intermingle
Hmm.
because probably with dating, appearance is super important, and a lot of people that are concerned about their appearance, probably one of their base drives is their romantic relationships. So it's a very awesome intersection.
I know. And I know we are already finding ways to work together. And I hope
Mm-hmm.
people who are watching this, like, ooh, I'm going to reach out. And I wanted to ask too, would you work with men, women, more one than the other?
So the just to give a little bit of context here, the reason I chose the name of the business that I did, which is the Art of the Gent, not Art of the Gentleman,
Yeah.
is all I'm concerned about is anybody that is interested in a masculine expression. So I do have clients that are lesbians. I do have clients that are trans, and I obviously most of my clients are just men. But it is anybody that is interested in masculine expression. This is where it's at because it's not just for men. So that's the I hope that answers the question.
That totally answers the question. And I'm assuming if people click to go to your profile, they can go and book a call right there on your website.
Yes, yes. So you can go to my profile or just very simply www.theartofthegent.com. That'll take you to my site. Also, all my socials are on the website, and that's usually, I was going to say, easiest way to get in touch with me, but all of them forward to the same email box. So if you have questions, if you'd like to book an initial conversation just to chat and see where you're at, and if this is something that I can help you with, just book a time that we can talk, and we'll get that sorted out.
Awesome. Well, I hope that some people reach out, and just even if you're curious, and I know that we have more collaborations, maybe even some events in store for everybody in the future.
No, for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm so glad that you could join me tonight. Any parting thoughts, final words of wisdom?
It circles back to some of the things I said. It's your appearance is your resume to the world. So just be very aware of what the message that you're putting out is. However it is you want to look. You are judged on your appearance. Just be very cognizant and aware of what the message you're putting out into the world is. I think that's the long and short of it.
Yeah, I think that's really an important one. I even think, the different jobs I've been in, I dress differently. Mm-hmm. I want people to see me differently.
Sure.
So, don't ever feel like you're also tied to a certain look. And we have the perfect guy to help you do a different look.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to go shopping with you. I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm actually. I was explaining that yesterday, and I'm intrigued by the concept. I'm curious how that's going to go, but I'm very excited for it. So, and as is he.
Have you ever had like another person join one of your shopping trips?
It doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
But it's usually in your situations. It's a little different because you're helping this particular gentleman achieve something through your business. Whereas if somebody's partner comes in, it's a little different because at that point it's not themselves expressing or getting the things. It's sort of what somebody else is putting on them. Mm-hmm. But in your situation, you're trying to help him get somewhere. So you're kind of cheerleading the process along. So I think it's going to be great. So, and if with future collaborations, I think that might just be part of the package is you coming along.
Yay! I just sit there and I ooh and ah.
Well, you see those romantic comedy montages when they're coming out of the changing room, and they have everybody.
Oh my God! Right? That'll be me. That'll be me. I can bring a whole squad if we need.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight and sharing.
My pleasure was mine.
What you do, and I can't wait to see you very soon. Same here.
You have a great rest of the evening. Thanks, everybody that joined in.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.